Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Alderoth, and this is Quest of the Mental. It is Saturday, December 26th, and today is going to be a very, very informal, kind of a year in review thing, because I don't think I'm going to get another episode in before the new year. So I'm just going to kind of talk about what all led up to where we are at this moment. Excuse me, burped there for a second. So how did all this begin? Back in November of last year, I was in a very, very bad place. I was undiagnosed bipolar 2. I'd gone decades without even knowing I had bipolar disorder, and I was self-medicating using opiates. And I finally decided that I was going to go into rehabilitation, and I was going to quit the drugs I was on, and not really knowing that I was going to deal with a mental health issue, a bigger one than post-traumatic stress disorder. I go into rehab, and they put me on lithium, and it was almost like a light bulb turned on. I was like, what the hell's going on? All of a sudden I had clarity. So I started the trip, or the going down the road of bipolar, and it was a learning curve. My world kind of flipped upside down. I mean, it's still sort of upside down and shaking around a bit. Because I'm still trying to figure out the hypomania, along with the depression and anxiety. I believe right now I'm in a hypomanic episode. I feel really good. I feel like I'm kind of not really unstoppable, but I feel like anything I do is going to be great. Which is it's a really weird feeling. And it comes and it goes. So getting that diagnosis and talking with my doctor for the past year, it's been a year and a month that I've been dealing with the same doctor, going through several different medication changes and trying to figure out, what's my cocktail. Because one thing about being bipolar, that most people don't understand is not one set of drugs is going to work for everybody. So what works for one person isn't going to work for another. So we've had to kind of try this and try that and mix things around a bit, and we've sort of found something that works now. But it's taken a little over a year to be able to get to where that's worked. And during that year, there's been episodes of anxiety to a point where I would go over to my mother's house, and I would sit like in her house, and I would be terrified to go to my car. Like, that's how bad the anxiety would be. And if I did get to my car, I would drive to the emergency room, and I would sit in my car in the parking lot, and I would just be like, okay, if anything happens, at least I'm in the emergency room parking lot where somebody would find me. Like that is how severe the anxiety has been at times. So it's been a very turbulent time, but right now at this point, I feel like we've kind of found a good happy medium. Now, before all that, in the very beginning, I thought I had a good hold on it. And I ended up getting into this relationship that was with someone who had a substance abuse problem with alcohol, and we just didn't mix. They tried stopping, and I gave them credit. I give them credit for trying to stop, but it was just too big for them, and it was too big for me. And I ended up having to leave the situation, and I felt like I had let that person down because I wasn't able to handle the situation. But the truth of the matter is, I was too fresh in my own recovery and dealing with my own mental health to even be able to deal with somebody who was trying to take care of their own. So, but bad things happened. I got jumped on, scratched. It was a bad situation. But that ended, and that caused a lot of depression, and that kind of exacerbated a lot of symptoms that I was having. And then of course, as once I reached the 6 month mark, it kind of it increased the anxiety, feeling like nobody was going to love me because I had bipolar. Uh, Nobody was ever going to be with me because a lot of people use substances these days. I mean, a lot of people smoke weed, a lot of people trip on shrooms, a lot of people drink. I mean, it's going to be hard for someone like me who doesn't do anything to find somebody who's in that same boat, and that causes a lot of turmoil for me, especially as I get older. I feel like it's going to become very isolated as time goes on. But anyway, we go on from there, and I had started getting into voice acting. I joined up with what is it, voices.com. And I had gotten some good reviews on a few demo things that I had done. And I would kind of pour myself into these little demos and things. And I found that kind of took place of loneliness. And then just recently I started playing music again. And that's kind of taken place of the loneliness and the feeling isolated, dealing with more people. When from the 6 month mark to about the year, was it about a year? It was close to the year mark. I actually got an extra part in a movie. A friend of mine he's a really great guy. He had a project that was going on north of me, and he just asked if there were extras or anybody wanted work. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Get up there, and there's some big name people there, and we spend 3 days like running through the woods, acting like alien zombies. It was pretty cool, and again, that all took place of that loneliness that I was feeling from that bad relationship that made me feel like I was never going to be likable. I was never going to be lovable and things of that nature. I just had to find things to keep myself busy. And also being bipolar 2, I can't speak for bipolar 1 because I don't know. I don't know what they go through emotionally. But for bipolar 2, emotions run high for me. I know that for a fact. So, like, if I feel love for someone, it's very intense. If I feel anger about something, it's very intense. So, when I get heartbroken, it's very, very intense. It's not just oh man, that sucks. It is a catastrophic event that happens. No matter if it's me ending the relationship or if it's them ending the relationship, it's a catastrophic event. So the amount of loneliness and the downtrodden side of it was very immense. And picking up these extra little things that, while they did not pay me a crap ton of money, they didn't make me world renowned or famous. They took up pieces of my time, and they got me to be creative in a way. It helped me deal with those emotions, because that the movie thing, pretending to be an alien zombie thing, was a very primal thing. And I got to pretend to be angry and all that stuff. You got that stuff out. With the voice acting, each role was different, but you had very sweet and very caring roles where you had to talk very softly, and it would kind of get those emotions out of the way. And so they were great ways to deal with all this stuff and get all of that out of my system to where I didn't think about it. Because one of the worst things for me is sitting and festering on stuff. And if I would not have agreed to start playing music again, doing the voice acting, doing the movie, if I would not have agreed to do those things, I would have relapsed. Most definitely, 100%. I would have gone back to drugs, because I would have needed a way to deal with the emotions that I was feeling. So it was great that those things had popped up when they did. I probably would have relapsed, most definitely. I think it would have been I don't think I would have lasted a year if I did not have those things come into my life at the times that they did. And I also got new gear. I started the podcast. I started the Tuber page, which, this is where this all kind of came from, the Quest of the Mental. It's a part of Tuber, which is a social media app. And that had such a great community, and everybody was so understanding. They were very supportive of the things that I was going through. They had seen me when I was depressed. They saw me when I was hypomanic. They saw me when I was like rush cleaning the house. They saw me when I was very contemplative. They saw the anxiety. They've seen everything, and they still listen to me. It was a very supportive place, and that's where all this comes from. The Quest of the Mental stuff. So, starting all that and getting outlets for everything is really what's helped me get to this point. To be able to say that I'm 1 year and 1 month sober, it's taken all those things. But now there was an aspect of I had to go get it. Like, I had to pursue these things. They didn't just like drop in my lap. I stumbled onto the Tuber app. I came up with the idea for Quest of the Mental. I came up with the content for it. I came up with the idea for the podcast. I figured out the gear that I needed to make the podcast. Then I started figuring out how to make the episodes. I started to figure out the voice acting stuff. I did research on that. Everything I looked into. So it wasn't like things just dropped, like fell out of the sky. I had to genuinely look for stuff. So don't think for an instance that it was just kind of like, oh, here's all this good stuff. That's not how it happened. It was just, I was pursuing certain things to make sure that I stayed busy. And all these great things came out of it. But I definitely had to put in the work. Oh, how much time do we got now? Oh, we're at the 15-minute mark. We got about 3 minutes. But it's been a great year in the aspect of creativity. It's been great in that regard. I don't know when the movie's coming out. I don't know like a timeline for it. We didn't really talk about those things. The movie was very fast paced. We were shooting scene after scene after scene, and we were just trying to knock pins down and get everything done. Nobody really asked any questions as far as like, when's it coming out. So as soon as I know something, I'll let everybody else know. But the podcast thing, I try to do once a week, but it really depends right now with the holidays. And my mom is having a knee surgery coming up this week. I don't know how true I can stay to that. Also, not having a co-host makes this even harder because I have to sit and basically talk to myself, which gets very boring because I don't find myself very interesting. But we'll have to see how things go. What else? I have more doctor's appointments coming up. I try to do those like every 2 weeks, so that way we can adjust medications as issues arise. But yeah, it's been a great year for the creative process. Not so much for the interactive or like hanging out with people, because stay away from folks. You don't want to get sick. Lord, please don't get sick. But anyway, that's my time. I am Alderoth, and this is Quest of the Mental.